Hello, welcome to the workshop. Right, we got Rusty Bertie back in the workshop. If you remember last week, we took him out for a first ride and all is great. But I did, perhaps unfairly, slag off the seat quite a lot. It's the Royal Enfield genuine low ride seat with a custom seat cover on. And it's okay, but as I talked about last week, it's not the most comfortable seat. Not awful, but could be better. So we're going to try something this week, which is obvious from the title. But I was going to try the touring seat, which I'm going to show you now because I've got one on the Meteor. But then, so I just went looking for a touring seat, and amazingly, I saw a Bullet seat come up for just £50, Bullet touring seat. And that was such a good price. I thought, well, I'll grab that. Perhaps we'll just have a play with it. We'll see what it's like. And if I don't like it, I can just sell it again. It's always going to be in demand. So no great loss. This week then, we're going to try and fit a new Bullet seat to a classic 350. And not just an ordinary Bullet seat, it's the touring seat. So it's going to be the same fitting as a standard seat, but it is the touring seat. And if you might remember, I sat on the touring seat Bullet back in the motor show in November, and I was really taken with that as one of the most comfortable motorbikes I've ever sat on. I'll leave a link to that. And when I look on the Royal Enfield stand, you can see lots of Bullets. But I do really like this look. But we can try this Bullet seat. We can always change it back. And somewhere I've also got a standard seat that it came with, but like everything else, because this is a write-off, the standard seat I've got is a bit torn on the edge, but I could make a cover or something, or get a slip over cover. Either way, today we'll try a Bullet seat on a classic 350, and we'll see how that goes. Don't shoot me, thank you. Let's have a look at these seats in more detail. So this is the low ride seat, and we've got about 7 or 8 centimetres of foam, but a centimetre of that is just the plastic rim at the bottom and isn't really foam, because that obviously goes up inside there and the seat cover is folded around. So I'll say it's about 7 centimetres of foam, genuine Royal Enfield low ride seat. Let's have a look at standard seat. Standard seat in the same place, taken off about a centimetre. Got about 8 centimetres of foam, although it does seem a lot thicker. Yeah, more like 9. So 7 centimetres of foam on a low ride, 9 centimetres on a standard, and there's just a lot more of it in sort of every area. Come to think of it, this seat is almost perfect. Oh, there we are, look. Though it seems churlish to complain about that, given what the rest of it looks like. Standard seat. Now let's have a look at touring seat. This is a classic 350 touring seat. It's on the Meteor bobber, but it is a classic 350 seat, because they do fit a Meteor if you use the right bracket. And here, looking more about 11 centimetres. Well, that's not really telling the full story, because as you can see, it's a much fatter seat with this sort of kicked up support. So 7 centimetres, what was it, 10 centimetres, and just over 11 centimetres. Let's look at the Bullet seat. Okay, prepare yourself. Here it is. Look at that monster leviathan of a seat. We'll compare it on the bike now, because you may not be getting the true glory of this whole thing. But let me prop it up, and we'll measure how much foam is there. Obviously on the Classic 350, the seat, got one here, is floating up above the frame and it has that space underneath. But the Bullet doesn't have that, it doesn't have that at all. So this whole thickness is available for sitting on. And it sits down on the frame. It doesn't have that Classic 350 seat bracket. Now at the bottom, ironically, bottom of that curve, how much foam have you got? Minus a bit for the rim. It's nearly 15 centimetres of foam. So that's over double the low ride seat. And of course, as you can see, it's an enormous wide seat, and the sides flare downwards. Whereas if we look at a Classic seat, it's kind of sheer edged. So you can see, Bullet seat, got a lot more padding going on. Obviously it irrevocably comes with the pillion part, but we'll just have to deal with that. I love the solo look, but I can't see what's behind me, and I do like being comfortable. Now Bullet is undoubtedly the same frame as the Classic and the Meteor, but I have no idea what's going to happen under here. So let's have a look. All right, here it comes. Much bigger. But we'll see how it goes. So compared to this puny seat, I can't even get my hand around it. Try it out. See how it goes. I mean, it's possible. It may not even fit on here. That would be a high seat. Something to consider as well is, if you look at the Bullet, I'll stick a picture up. This mudguard frame isn't rounded. It comes up, it goes flat, and then it curves around. And the mudguard also is flat. So it's completely different. The same main frame, the side frames and the mudguard on the Bullet are different. So I don't even know if it's going to hit the mudguard. This might be a very short video, although it's unlikely. Let's have a look. How's this going to fit? So the arrangement on your standard Classic is front solo seat with a metal bracket that holds that onto the frame, and the tongue on the front of the tank just slips in there, which doesn't really hold it straight, but it just makes sure it can't lift up. Then you have a subframe which sits underneath, which takes the pillion pad. Pillion pad's got two plastic engagement tongues, two rubber pads for sitting on the back of there. And that should sit. I haven't seen this from this way up. There we are. That sits on the subframe. And two bolts either side hold that in. Then you've got the suspension bolt and one of the front seat bolts holds your subframe in. Now, this is where it could all fall apart, because the Bullet quite possibly has a completely different subframe. But I'm hoping Royal Enfield, being very pragmatic and economical and common sense, will have made the Bullet seat to fit the Classic subframe, so they've only got one part. So let's have a look, because I just don't know. There might be bodgery involved here. The Bullet seat It's got the same mounting tongue as the tank, where it slips over the front of the tank. It's got these two rubber rests, which are curved to fit the frame tubes, and the classic seat has got those as well. Now the classic seat doesn't have these two rubber stoppers, so these are resting on something. We've got two more curved rubber stoppers here, and rubber stoppers at the back, and what looks like the same mounting points. So we shall have a look. And it looks fairly similar. Oh, the teeth fit over. Well, it fits in some fashion. The mounting holes line up. The locating teeth. Oh, and those rubber stoppers, are they going to rest? Yes. Look, can you see that? Those rubber stoppers are going to rest on the subframe. Woohoo! This is looking good. And technically, if this fits the subframe, that must mean it must fit the classic 350 curved mudguard, because this subframe clears a classic mudguard. So if this is on here and this is the classic, it must. Interesting. So that squared off bullet mudguard is an aesthetic thing from the old times then, probably. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right, the only thing that's random now is these two rubber stoppers are resting on something. So we're about an inch forward and 20 mil sideways. Typical British, always mixing imperial and metric measurements. 1 inch by 20 mil. So look on the bike, see if there's anything there. Just looking under the seat of the Classic, that's where that front mounting is. And there's this cross tube here. And I'm wondering if those rubber stops just rest on this cross tube, because like I say, we're about an inch forward. And this metal cross tube is right there. Let me pull back a bit to get some context. And that's the classic 350 bracket, which just is not there. I've just got to dismantle this beautifully assembled bike now. I'd send it back under guarantee, couldn't I? And say, look at this rusty thing. I was going to say I don't want to scratch it, but how would you tell? Now, because I fitted the Royal Enfield spring kit, which is a total arse to fit, Tiger Nest's got an excellent bod to do this much better. But I just wanted to see it done, so I didn't do that. To get these out, it's easier to just move the mudguard back. So I'm just going to loosen these and tilt the mudguard back. That should make it a lot easier. So really, I need to back these bolts out just to make some room. I just got to get this plug out. because that's what's going to hold the subframe system in. Not subframe, rear mudguard frames. So when I loosen these two lowers, this whole mudguard should just... What am I doing there? On the other side. Now there's slack in the electrical cable, so don't worry about that. And this should just move backwards. There you go, so it's just the top of the shock is blocking it. That should be just enough. Getting these little things out is a total arse. I'll put a link to Tiger Ness's video and he'll show you an excellent way so you don't have to do this ever again. So do go and have a look at that. Right, finally got that out. And then got two 12mm bolts that hold the seat in, or the seat bracket rather. Weirdly as well, that was the replacement one from Hitchcock's, because when you get rid of the subframe, you need to buy another one of these short bolts, which Hitchcock's sell as a replacement. But it's got a 13mm head instead of 12, which is all right. And it's also suspiciously tight to get in. So it's maybe a slightly different spec. Works, but just let you know. Oh. Because I had left the screwdriver in. That's why it's not moving. Right, let's try again. Hey! There we are. It says the seat bracket that may now be redundant because this space here, which is all fresh air, is going to be foam. It's going to be actual sittable seat. Is that a word? Sittable seat? And it's going to be taller as well. This is the genuine spring kit, which is vastly over-engineered for something which does nothing. I got rusty hands from working on Bertie, which figures. Now, remember we said an inch forward. Actually, that bit fits there. Inch forward, 20mm sideways. Those rubber rests should push on here. That should live in there, look. There we go. Let's get that subframe. Now, before I do anything, let's tip this forward back to where it should be. Interestingly, if you've got a Super Meteor 650 or a shotgun 650, you've got these two ugly bosses in the frame, which a nice chap is making little inserts for, which you can buy. And I'm certain that these holes will be for the upcoming Classic 650 to mount its mudguard frames in. You mark my words. I'm hoping to see that at the motor show, the motorcycle show, which is, where are we now? August, September, October, November. So 3 months. We'll take a ride up there, and I hope I'm going to see the Classic 650. Because the spy shots are quite advanced now, as I've talked about, so I'm sure it's all ready. Just like that. Then a long bolt through the front. God, there's not a lot of clearance at all, is there? Look, they've even had to put a little bend in the top there just to make it clear this. And that's nothing I've done, it's all in the original place. Yeah. That's really close. Okay, got cold feet now. I need the long original bolt there, don't I? Let's get it. I've just realised something before we bolt this on. The classic 650, bloody classic 650 on the brain now. Classic 350 seat bracket, this thingy, is supposed to slip down over the frame and before the seat subframe, but that's not there now. So we've got gaps either side. I found a couple of black washers, so I'm going to pop them in there so that when this clamps up, it's going to take up that space. Interesting to know what they've got there on a classic, on a Bullet 350. God, so many models. Or if they just ignore it and have a big gap. I'll try them there. That wire's not trapped, is it? No. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what a Bullet has there, or if they just ignore it. So I've got to put the nuts on the back here, but I can leave that for a sec. I think we're ready to try the seat. What disaster awaits? Let's have a look. Right, Bullet 350 seat on the classic 350, yay or nay? So I've got to hook the tongue in to the tank, and I've got to get those plastic teeth under there. And this should be, I mean, let's not say, okay. Is that it? Bolts need to go in. And those plastic plugs, yeah, resting on the frame. That frame tube we talked about. Oh my God, well, that was easy. I know we dicked around with all moving the mudguard and everything, but that's only because I had that damn spring kit. That would have been a 10-minute job if it was just plain classic 350 seat. Obviously bolts need to go in there. We'll look at that in a sec. Let's stand back for a look and try it out. Check it out. Classic 350 Reborn with a Bullet seat. Very straightforward. Wow, it looks very different, doesn't it? Very different. I'd have to get used to that. I said the Bullet had this squared off thing, but obviously it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all that this hasn't got the squared off mudguard and the squared off frame. It still fits. It fits very well. Looks very different. Looks quite grown up looking. Looks quite refined. As opposed to sort of utilitarian. It looks kind of really it's quite smooth. Let's pull back and I'll have a sit on it. Right, put it on the side stand. Let's have a go. Ooh. It's very comfortable. Yeah, just like when I tried one the first time, it's got that armchair feel. You can feel the foam, how deep it is. Of course, it's more curved out than just a flat bench. Yeah, it's an extremely comfortable seat. Of course, you don't know till you try it, but it feels like you could sit there for, well, much longer than the low ride one. Although everyone's different, you never know. We'll have to have a ride out with this. We'll do it today. We'll give it a try. And then we'll have a review of that. I've got a rack here somewhere as well. Let's have a look at that. But yeah, that's just as comfortable as I remember from the motor show. Because it's like sitting on two seats really, because it's so thick. Of course, the back looks very different, so we'll have to have a think about that. But you could get addicted to how comfortable that is. I've got the original 4 Allen head bolts. And I've got the rack that Rusty Bertie came with, which, like everything else on the bike, is a bit damaged. So I'll have to paint this up or rust it up. Who knows if I was going to use that. But we'll try it just to see if it fits anyway, and we can have a look at it. So I'm guessing this just goes over. Now I have heard that this can be a bit difficult to get on. I can see how it might be. There you go. What do you think? Quite a change, isn't it? I'm not committing to it, but next time we'll take it for a ride out. I'll give this setup a good reviewing. What, a good riding, isn't it? Same thing. Obviously that rack is all tatty at the moment, but then what isn't? We'll take it out, we'll have a go. But if you are interested in putting a new model bullet seat on your Classic 350, the seat is all you need. There's no other brackets, no other bolts. Just those 2 little washers I added, didn't I? There's nothing. So if you got a Classic 350 Reborn, want to try the bullet look, want to try the bullet seat, a seat, second-hand seat, new seat, whatever, they're all available. That's all you need. And you can try this out. It fits with the mudguard look. It fits with the same racks. Original subframe. There's a lot of cushion going on. Yeah, I'll take it for a ride. Now I've seen this, I am kind of interested in the classic white top box look. There's a top box called Snowden, I think. I'll put a link and some pictures now. And it's a very sort of 50s, 60s British thing. I had to have a white top box on the back. I know, don't faint. Something to sow the seed. Maybe we'll think about that. Or maybe I'll go back to standard seat. Because I know I had the low ride seat, which was too thin. But I've still got that standard seat. I could make a cover for that. Or do something. or nick the Meteor's touring seat. Anyway, lots of playing to come. So thanks very much for watching again. Please like and subscribe if you want to. You don't have to. But I guarantee you'll see more Bullet Classic 350 weirdness. Thanks again. See you soon. Let's go ride it.